I'm sorry about that. Hey guys, it's Pliskin. Today we're doing another height video on Dante, which is yet another character that has a whole bunch of different guesses as to what his height is, but no one really knows. So let's take the time and go through that. So as we can see here, this height chart based off of the Devil May Cry anime that aired a couple of years back, well, a lot of years back, we can see that it places him at around 190 centimeters. This would put Dante at 6'3", which seems to go in line with a lot of his earlier appearances. Take a look at Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, for example. Now, I like cross-referencing different games with different characters, especially this one here, because the protagonist in Shin Megami Tensei is 5'7", and that is confirmed. And now when we look at Dante while he's walking next to him, eventually there'll be footage of him walking in slow motion, you can see that he doesn't necessarily dwarf the character, but he's still significantly taller. So from this we can tell that Dante is definitely within the 6 foot range, but let's go a little bit deeper to figure out where he could be by comparing him to other people. When you talk to a lot of people, they'll say that Devil May Cry 3 Dante seems to be the shortest, and a lot of them put him at around 5'11". And if you look at the scene with him and Lady here, Lady's supposedly supposed to be 5'8", however, he towers above her. So I want to take this time to dispel that belief about the whole 5'11" part, because you can see even as he's walking away from her and there's distance between the two, her head just barely goes to the shoulders, and if he was actually 5'11", when he does the lean like this, he'd be a bit closer. He wouldn't have to arch his head that far. So we know for sure that Dante is above 5'11". One answer could be that Lady's height is off, because in the chart she still looks significantly shorter than 5'8", and the 5'7" Shin Megami Tensei protagonist seems like he would dwarf her. However, before I start getting to my real point, let's just address the other height questions to do with other entries in the series. Devil May Cry 4 Dante is said to be the tallest one out there, out of all the iterations, but when you look at him next to Lady, the height difference still looks the same. So this belief that Dante is just magically taller in 4 rather than how he is in 3 is just, it doesn't have a lot of grounds. I believe the reason that a lot of people put him up there in height, like I've heard some people put him at around 6'5", is because he has these wide shoulders and he's a lot more muscular in that game. In Devil May Cry 3, on the other hand, he's still the same height, but he's a lot slimmer, as you can see there. Going back to Devil May Cry 4 now, again, when he's standing next to Nero, you can still see a significant difference, but it's not as though he's dwarfing Nero in the same way he dwarfs Lady. So I don't feel like Dante's standing at around a 6'5". He still looks into that like above 6 feet range, but these statements putting him that high up, I don't think they have a lot of grounds. I think a lot of that has to do with the size of Dante's shoulders and the fact that he's just so much more muscular in 4. However, I do feel when we get to Devil May Cry 5, although his height is on the same level when compared to Triss and Lady, he does seem a bit shorter. This could be that Nero's taller, which if we go by the statue that was made of Nero, that's true. However, something about Dante just doesn't have the same presence, and I think that has to do with the size of the shoulders. However, you can still see that he still retains height over Nero. So I think at this point, it's safe to say, although he seems a lot slimmer, he is the same height, especially when he's standing next to Virgil. They both seem to be around the same height, maybe not the exact same player model like in 3, but it's similar, so I think it's safe to put Dante at around 6'2". However, when going over this topic, I feel like there's one factor that everyone misses out on. Dante is always packing at least a 3-inch heel, so all of these charts and predictions that we have are completely wrong. So I decided to cross-reference him with Deadpool, a character that's confirmed to be around 6'2". And ultimately, I didn't get anything concrete because there is no shots of them standing next to each other without one of them crouching or slouching or whatever. So I decided to just look back at the charts and take a look at those heels and decide where do we draw the line and how are we going to do the math, subtracting from whatever these heels give him. While I'm not sure how to measure pixels, if we look at Dante's heels, we can see they're on par with ladies. Now, on average, you could say that a lot of women's heels usually are sold with 3 inches. With that being said, and based on what we saw earlier on when we were looking at the Devil May Cry 5 dance video, it's safe to say that Dante's heels usually tend to average out at around that same level, so 3 inches. Now, if we subtract these 3 inches from his heels off of his height, based on what we had in the chart that we sort of confirmed when looking at Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, we can say that Dante would average out at around 6 feet. However, in each game he probably has a different size heel. I'm mostly basing this off of his original given height and the game that shows his feet the most. However, we can say that his height may vary in between games depending on said heels, which could also influence the fact that some people see him taller in some games and shorter in others. So yeah guys, if you want me to give you a very confident and definitive answer, I would say that Dante, son of Sparta, would be at around 6 feet flat, which would in centimeters be 183. Now, as far as he differs from game to game, that would depend on his heels and who he is around. You could base this on a lot of things, the statue of Nero, other characters in the game, but the fact of the matter is he doesn't have a confirmed height. This is just based off of me doing the minimal amount of research. If you guys want to go more into this, I'm sure there's more forums and stuff that you guys can look into, but this has been Pliskin, again talking about things that no one really thinks much about. However, if you do happen to think about this often and you want me to do this on more characters, let me know below, like and subscribe. This has been Pliskin, always having fun with these videos. Over and out. Well, really quick before I go, I didn't think I was going to use this just because cursed Dante, but the promo shots for DMC show Dante at standing around 6'2", and of course he's probably in heels here, so there you have it. Dante is definitely around 6 feet if you want to go by this official footage. Sorry I put this in last minute, I just thought about it right now, so here you go. Here's a little more evidence as to what I was going over. Anyways guys, it's been a pleasure. Pliskin out.